Hello everyone and welcome to Spa. Recently I've been trying out the new Assetto Corsa races on LFM. And the first one I tried was the Sports Car Championship, featuring the Le Mans Hypercars, LMP2s and GTEs. Myself, being quite a fan of high downforce cars, I decided to take on the Hypercars, utilising the Ferrari here for my first time at Spa. Currently you're seeing my qualifying lap, and that was my best. We've got a replay angle in the bottom right, but let me just explain the format. It started off with a 15-minute quali session, this being my final lap within the session, and then we have a 30-minute race. No pit stops, it's just a straight sprint. The big thing is what you've just seen there, traffic. GTs and LMP2s are of course quite a bit slower than the hypercars, meaning we will be lapping quite a number of cars that are slower than us, and it could be the deciding factor of the race, which will keep things interesting throughout the whole 30 minutes. Looking at our qualifying lap here, we're currently half a second up on our personal best, currently, which is a 2-minute 1.1. Pole time currently a 59.9, so we've got quite a bit of time to find if we want to get on pole position, but of course everyone will be trying to improve, so it's not like second place is secure at the moment. But as we head up towards Blanchimont, you can see the timer for the session's already ticked down to 0. We have just the bus stop left to go, braking hard for it now, losing quite a bit of time on entry, but making up a lot of time on second apex, up to 9/10 of an improvement. That will put us at a 2-minute 0.2 for our fastest lap. That'll let us into P2, about 2.5 tenths off the leader, 3 tenths ahead of third place, who just set their fastest lap there. So, the race, it's a standing start, which is unusual for these cars, but it's what we have to deal with on Assetto Corsa. I haven't done a practice start yet, so we're gonna try, see what we can do. It's lights out and away we go here at Spa. It's a decent phase 1 to start, but you can see the Acura on our inside getting a much better phase 2. Having better acceleration, they slip in front of us. Big carnage in the background. A few cars into the gravel. Because you can see the pressure from another Acura on our right hand side. A Chevrolet coming up. But they both have to back out as we head up through a Rouge now. Looking to the cars in front, we are in slipstream of the Acura. Got much better top end acceleration. We pull out into the slipstream of the leading Ferrari, cleanly past. And now braking for the Lecombe chicane. The Acura closes up as we both brake late, but the Acura too deep has to cut the corner. Lets us settle into second place now, as things settle down from the first lap. We'll see if we can go chasing after the leader and create a gap up to third place. As we have a few cleaner laps, we'll skip forward nearly 7 minutes now. As we head into Pouillon, we've got yellow flag up ahead. It's for a crashed LMP2 car. We've got another LMP2 car that's going to let us through. But at this point now, we've reached the traffic. We're only 1.2 seconds behind the leader. As you can see, the leader getting held up behind the first of the GTE cars. Currently, we're 6 tenths up on our personal best. We come to this corner, compromised by the Porsche. You can see it costs us about 2.5 tenths there. Maybe up to 3 now, as it obviously gives us a bad run into the final sector of the lap. Another little yellow flag, as we'll be catching more cars soon enough. You can see last lap we were 3 tenths slower. This lap's, despite the traffic, is going to be a new personal best for us. We're 3.5 tenths up. We set the fastest lap of the race, just dipping down into the 59, so 59.9, and we dive it down on the GTE from quite far way back, but it's a cautious lunge. Not being too aggressive, but has cost us quite a bit of time. You can see Delta 6/10 down as we head down to our Rouge now, losing us a bit of time to the leader now. Gap is 1.5 seconds. But we'll cut ahead to the end of that lap, starting the next lap as we catch the next GT car. Both of us in the Ferraris having a lock up into T1. Leader getting by nicely on the exit. We'll get into the slipstream, passed well before our Rouge, giving us a nice clean run. Gap is now only 0.8 of a second, so we're certainly thereabouts. Should traffic go in our favour, we may be able to get the opportunity to pounce, but that is an if traffic goes in our favour. We'll try and close down. Looks like we've had a good calm. The leader firmly in our sights now, but once again can see we're catching a whole group of GT cars. This is probably the bulk of the class. Right, going round the outside of the Chevy. We'll have to cut back on the exit. Chevy annoyingly holding a bit of a tighter line, compromising us a bit more. But as we head into P1, we're going to have caught this Porsche and this other Chevy at just the wrong moment. We sneak down the inside just about in time, but that's cost us a lot of time, over 1.5 seconds back now. But another car just slowing up the leader just ever so slightly. Another one of the LMP2s. As you can see, another GT car in front. So gap is now 1.5 seconds as we come into the final sector once again. We shouldn't get held up here, so we're into a flat out section. Head to the right hand side there. Chevy sticks to the left. Nice and clear. So with that, we're back within a second of the leader. Though we can see more cars in the distance. Will the opportunity come as we finish off this lap? Just within a second now. Breathing down on their neck, trying to put the pressure on. As we set nearly identical times that lap, both doing a 2 minute 1.4, with the 8 thousandths separating the times. As we head now down to a Rouge, we'll both get a clean run through it. The important thing is, are we going to be able to pass these cars in front before the Decom chicane, before we get into Sector 2? It looks like the Ferrari, the leader has, but unfortunately we're not. In fact, Ferrari's down the inside, having to take a bit of caution getting past the Porsche. We're going to go around the outside of the LP2. Get first a little bit wide, so the LP2 is trying to find a way past the GTE Porsche at the same time, but both cost us similar amounts of time. As we skip forward once more, gap now 1.5 seconds. As we're catching another Porsche, thankfully catching it just after Blanchimont, not losing any time there. As we head into the bus stop. Gap has continued to be there about 1.5 seconds. Unfortunately, we lost 6/10 that lap due to traffic, but looks like Ferrari's getting held up a little bit by GT ahead through the source. Now we'll have to pass that GT as well. Gap 1.5 seconds, but as we catch, we're going to catch awkwardly in the middle of our Rouge. We have to back off, but we go for this really dodgy and risky move, just trying to lose as little time as possible. And even with that risk, we lose well over 1 second, putting us 2 seconds back from the leader now, which really isn't going to help us in the chase for the lead. Once again, as we a lap or two later, now we're catching this GT in the middle of Blanchimont, having to brake, and once again there goes more than half a second, and GT still on our inside. Going to force us to take a wide line through the bus stop, losing us into 2 seconds this lap now. So the leader sets a new fastest lap of the race. We're saying a 2 minute 2.2 seconds slower. Gap now out to 4 seconds, which is nearly putting an end to our chase for the win. But as well, we've lost all that time through traffic. The leader can still lose that time too. but we will need our luck to change as we head down the up the Camel Street, I should say, passing 3 wide once again between all 3 classes. A lot less riskier on the straight this time, as the LP2 in the background a little bit deep into the chicane, but we're now 4 seconds to catch up leader. Back in traffic though, so maybe this time we'll be able to gain. As you can see, their leader going round the outside of the GTE in front. We still have to catch up. Gap now down to nearly 3 seconds. But we will be catching these GTs still in the middle sector. As you can see, have to back off early. Porsche leaves the inside open, so we'll take that space. Even if it was a little bit dodgy, in prototypes you want to commit to a move early, and I was about to commit to a move around the outside there. Luckily the Porsche just bailed out the apex soon enough to let me through, as we're now catching the next LMP2. Gap back up to 3.5 seconds for the leader, as we're catching into the braking zone. Just be able to get ahead in the braking zone, but we do have to leave a bit of space just to be safe. But looks like leader has lost more time in the bus stop. Gap now under 3 seconds, has managed to gain 1.2 seconds back that lap. That's the sort of laps we need if we're going to win this race. There's 5 laps remaining, but as we're coming up to another GT, are we going to catch it once more in Rouge? It's gonna be close. They're holding to the left hand side. We stick it side by side. Very risky, putting a lot of trust in GT. We still had to back out the throttle to make sure we didn't drive into them, and as you can see how much time it's lost us. 1.6 seconds. Gap now back up to 5 seconds as we cut a lap ahead. As you can see, getting held up by another Corvette. We go to pass on the inside. They block the inside, so if we could change our mind, go to the outside, and it's just more time lost, more time that we don't need to be losing. You can see catching more cars that leader has already passed. Gap now nearly 6 seconds. We slip up the inside of the Porsche, but you can see half a second already lost in T1 alone. With just 3 laps remaining, it looks like this race is going to be over. We'll slip past this Porsche just before our Rouge. So we still have one more car. It'll be an LMP2 in front of us that will catch in the middle sector now. So that's going to leave us more time, and the traffic just really not going our way. What seems like every opportunity it's holding us up while the leader's getting through, barely affected. Don't get me wrong, leader has been affected, has been slowed down, but we've been slowed down by 3 times as much as the leader, which is unfortunate. Has come into what used to be known as no name, just held up that little bit more. As you can see, losing over a second this lap so far, but looks like we'll have a clean end to this lap. See if we can close up, brought that delta back down to a second already. But as we head now, coming up to the final lap, it looks like the Ferraris had a little moment. They've had a half spin. As you can see, they're recovering in front of us out of the bus stop. Gap is now down to 1.5 seconds. It's still quite a bit for a final lap chase, but we'll give it a go anyway. We throw it down the inside of this LMP2 on the final lap. Thankfully, they leave us through, but we've quite the lockup in making that move. Where you can see the front white just starting to go yellow, showing a flat spot, but that did cost us 3/10, which reflects in the gap to the leader. We've still got more traffic to pass this lap. We're going to catch this GT on the straight. It's going to have no effect to either of us fighting for the win. As you can see, with that spin, leader lost 4 seconds that lap. They were lucky to have that 6-second lead from the traffic, but will their luck run out as we head through this final lap? Now, they're cleanly down the inside of this Corvette just in time, but gap's down to 1.5 seconds now as we head through no name. Corvette holds us up a little bit. We lose a 10th, but it's not as much as the leader, but we can't afford to be losing any time at this stage of the race if we want to catch them up. 2 seconds is a lot. We only have half a lap to go now. Leader up the inside of the GT ahead. Losing minimal time. Will the GT be as kind to us? It's almost too late now as we get to the end of the final sector. GT runs wide, but you can see still compromises our run so much. Doesn't reflect in the delta as our fastest lap was also held up by GT, but the gap's now 2.5 seconds with only 2 corners to go. It's not going to happen at this point. The next car to be lapped is an LMP2. They're far enough ahead to hold position, so we will have to settle for 2nd place in the end. Even though at times when we were in clean air, it seemed like we could hold on, maybe close up a little to the leader. The traffic, unfortunately, did not go our way, and we'll have to settle for 2nd place. A very fun race trying to chase down the leader. Despite the frustrations, a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. That's good to it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.